Hey, this is Ralph, and in this video we're going to work on a Microsoft Word SAM project, but I'm going to complete it using a Mac, which I am very new to. So if you're new to your Mac and trying to complete one of these SAM projects, then we're in the same boat. So let's give it a shot here. Now I'm already signed into SAM, and the one we're going to work on specifically is this Participation 3 SAM Word project. I'm going to go ahead and click on this to start it up. Now you have several attempts, and you can see I've actually already worked on this a couple times, but on the PC. So let's go ahead and get it started. Now, whenever you're doing these SAM Word projects, they're going to give you an instructions file, perfectly normal. They're going to give you a working file. In this case, it's going to be a document. And in some cases, they're going to give you an extra file. So this one is giving us this image to work with. And we want to download all three of these so that we have them available to us. Now, there's an option to download all. I think I'm just going to click on the individual file to download it. There we go. And last but not least, that image. Okay, so they're all going to be downloaded now, and I can see that if I go to my downloads folder here, I'm using the Opera browser by the way, but that shouldn't matter. I can see that I've got these files. I've got the image. I'm just going to hold on to that for later when the instructions say I need to use them. I've got the instructions file. We're definitely going to need that open. And we've got the main working file. Now, before I open up the working file, I want you to notice the file name on here. It's got my name in it, which is what SAM does. It puts the student name right into that working file, and it ends with a number 1. The very first thing we're going to do once we start our file is change that 1 to a 2. Now, technically, we could even do that right now. I can right-click on this working file and choose to rename it, and the only thing I'm going to do is change that 1 to a 2. There we go. So now we'll technically be able to skip that very first important step because we've already taken care of it before even getting to the instructions. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and double-click on this Word document, the working file, so I can start that in Word. There we go. It's off to the side here. We go back to my downloads folder, and I'm going to open up that instructions file, and that's opened up off to the right here. So if you've only got a single monitor, then obviously it's going to be convenient to kind of display your working file and your instructions file side by side. And I know my instructions file looks a little bit small over there, but I don't think I want to make it too much larger, so I'll just kind of refer to those directions. I can on my main working file on the left. I'm going to zoom in a little bit on that just to make that nice and large, and I'm just using the zoom controls down there in the lower right corner. Now, I'm pretty familiar with this activity from the PC standpoint, so a lot of those same skills are in the Mac version of Word. There are a couple of things that are just a little bit tricky and a little bit unusual, but I'm confident we can get through this. So now I'm going to look over on the right side in the directions, and bear with me, I know those are pretty small over there, but basically for getting started, it's open up the working file that has that little number 1 at the end, and then resave it with that number 2. Now, we've already taken care of that by renaming the file before we even started. Now, it does say here to complete the SAM project, I'm also going to need the image. I've got that downloaded, and I know it's in my downloads folder. Now, with the file open with a little number 2 at the end, ensure that your first and last name is displayed in the footer. So if I were to scroll down on this working file, I can see that this file created specifically for Ralph Phillips, and of course your name is going to be there because each file you download from SAM is kind of customized to you, so it's going to be looking for that information. So I think we are ready to get going here. Now I'm looking at the project steps, and I can see just by scrolling down there's about 15 key steps in here, and then it gives us a picture of what the finished product is going to look like. That's going to come in handy. It's always nice to compare our work with that finished product. And I'm going to kind of look over here and start working on the steps systematically one by one. So basically it's a little small company here, insurance sales it looks like, and we want to make changes to this flyer. So the first step that I'm looking at right down here for 1A is change the document theme to Office. Okay, so in Microsoft Word, I can move over to the Design ribbon, and over here on the left, I see Themes. And there's a bunch of themes available to us, but the one I'm interested in is Office over there in the top left corner. I'm going to click on that. And I just noticed a quick change to my document, but it was really subtle. You'll have to be prepared for that. Sometimes you're going to make changes to a Word document where you won't notice it right away. But let's go ahead and trust in the system, and that when I go to themes now, I can see that Office is the active theme. Now, step 1B is change the document theme colors to red violet. So I'm still on that design ribbon. I'm going to click on the colors drop down, and I'm looking for red violet, and sure enough, there's the choice for it. Okay, I feel like I've done steps 1A and B, so I'm going to go to the directions, select those, and I'm just going to choose the strike out or the cross out option, technically strike. I think it's control, no, yeah, the strikeout method, and I'm not sure if there's a keyboard shortcut for it. Strike through. Now, you'll notice sometimes you're going to get a little keyboard shortcut in a screen tip. For instance, underline is going to be Command U. I should be Command I, but it's not giving that to me there. I'm kind of curious. I'm going to try it out. Command I. Nope, that doesn't actually. Yep, it did work. Yeah, so a lot of the keyboard shortcuts from the PC to the Mac should be very, very similar, except of course in the PC we would use the Control key, and the Mac we're going to be using the Command key a lot. I'm going to jump on down to step number 2. I'm feeling pretty good about this. Change the margins to narrow to fit more content on the page. Fantastic. I happen to know that that's in the layout ribbon. And over here on the far left side of the layout ribbon, there's a margin drop down, and one of the options is narrow. I use that one quite a bit. Narrow. Okay, that gives us more room for content on the page. Step 3, make the picture of the seminar participants more eye-catching as follows. So they're talking about this photo right up here at the top. Resize the picture to a width of 5 inches. So I'm going to double click on that photo. Now when you double click on a photo or object in Word, it should make the picture format ribbon available to you. And it looks like it's even active. So that's, oh, no, doesn't look like it was. So I can see that the picture is selected because it's got the sizing handles around it. That's a good thing. And then I'm jumping over to picture format, and lo and behold, I can see the sizing controls right here. Now they want this picture to be a width of 5 inches. And there is a little checkbox button here. It's really subtle, but if you check this box, that's going to keep the proportions of the image the same. So if I change the width to a 5, and I can just press tab or enter, I'll press the tab, it's going to change the height proportionately to that width change. So that's important to know. Apply the simple frame black picture style. So I can see that my picture is still active. I've got the sizing handles all around it. That's a good sign. And now I want to apply the simple frame black picture style. So I need some picture styles here. And let's see what I can find up here. There's quick styles. Let's see if those drop downs give me something. Oh, in fact, when I hover over that, it even tells me picture quick styles. I'm going to click on that drop down. Now, this is probably what I think is probably the most frustrating thing about these SAM projects is they're telling you to look for this particular style, and sometimes you just have to explore a little bit. Now, I'm looking for simple frame black. Good news is when we hover over stuff, we're going to see a little screen tip come up. So, for instance, there's compound frame black. What if I go one above? Drop shadow. Lower to the right, moderate frame, center. Ah, look at this one, simple frame black. That's the one I want. I'm going to click on that, and there was a change, but that was pretty subtle, so you would have had to have been looking at your image to see that difference show up, but I think we've got it. Now, step 3C, apply the glow 5-point purple accent color 2 glow picture effect. That's a mouthful. So now I want a glow picture effect. So I'm still on my image, looking around a little bit here. Now I see artistic effects, but I don't think that's what I want. So I'm going to close that one. I'm going to move over here a little bit. What's this? Picture borders. Ah, picture effects right there. Again, I'm using that screen tip to help alert me to the area I need to be in. Now I see glow as a choice here. Feeling pretty good. We're getting warmer, I think. Now specifically, it wants 5-point purple accent color 2. All right, well, I'm going to focus my attention on this purple area. There's 8-point purple accent color 2, just above 5-point purple accent color 2. I'm going to click that one, There we go. I'm actually not too impressed with how that looks, but that's okay. We're just following the rules here, applying the changes. But that takes care of steps 2 and 3. So I'm going to select those on my instructions, and I'm going to strike them out. Now, let's look at step number 4. Draw attention to the flyer's headline paragraph, Insurance, Sales, Career, Seminar. Here it is right here. That's a paragraph. And if you click in the left margin of a paragraph, that will have the benefit of selecting one line of the paragraph. And since this paragraph is only one line, that was perfectly sufficient. I also know that I'm selecting a paragraph, by the way, because it's selecting that space at the end of the paragraph. If I was on my home ribbon, which I am, and I turn on my formatting marks, I'll see that I'm actually selecting that non-printing paragraph formatting character. You don't have to turn those things on, but I do want you to be aware that those paragraph symbols are there hidden away. Okay, I need to change the paragraph spacing before to 6 point and change the paragraph spacing after to 6 point. So steps A and B are before and after paragraph spacing. The paragraph is selected, and I'm going to go to the layout ribbon. And sure enough, right there in the middle of the layout ribbon, I can change the before to 6 points and the after to 6 points. I'm just using those little up and down buttons right there. Change the case to uppercase. Don't want to retype it, although I bet if we did retype it, it probably would come out okay, assuming we spelled everything correctly. But back on the home ribbon, I'm pretty sure, I think it's this one, change case. There's a little drop-down menu right next to our font controls, and if I click on this, there is an option right there to instantly change it to uppercase. So it's a safer way to go than retyping for sure, because it's too easy to make a mistake with that. Change the font size to 36 points. That should be pretty easy. There's 36 as an option. And by the way, you can type in a font size. You don't have to pick a font size in this list, but this is actually a very nice geometric progression of font sizes, and 36 is right there as a choice for us. Well, that was pretty easy. That takes care of step 4. I'm going to go ahead and look at step 5. Bold the times 9:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. in the paragraph beginning Friday, September 18th. So let's see, on my working document, let's scroll down a little bit here. Here it is, Friday, September 18th. That's the one they want. And I'm supposed to bold the times 9:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. So I'm going to select that text, which of course is the times. And I'm going to try this. I'm going to press Command B on my keyboard, and that should bold it. Looks like it worked. Okay. So there are a number of situations where you could use either the keyboard shortcut or you can use the menu option. You don't have to use them both equally. I would like you to be aware of multiple ways to do something, but pick the way that seems the most efficient to you. Well, I think that is it for step number 5. Excellent. So I'm going to select steps 4 and 5, and I'm going to cross those out, strike through. All right, we're flying along through this. Step number 6. Copy the text, Signal 1 Insurance Group. Okay, so there it is right there, Signal 1 Insurance Group. First thing I'm going to do is select that text, and then I'm going to press Command C to copy. Now, if I didn't use the keyboard shortcut, then on my home ribbon, I just would have used a copy button right here. This is the pretty standard icon for copy. It looks like little 2 sheets of paper, one overlapping the other. That's the copy sign. Okay, and then paste it in the blank paragraph after the seminar picture. So, remember I mentioned those paragraph formatting marks? Well, there's one right here, even though we can't see it. If I turn those paragraph formatting marks on, there's an empty paragraph. Really, we want to avoid those in a document. So what they're having us do is basically click. I can see my vertical flashing insertion point right there. And I'm going to press Command V as in Victor, and I'm going to paste that copied text. All right, and that was step number 6. I'm going to jump right over to step 7. Italicize the sentence, interested in a career in the insurance industry. Well, who's not? Interested in a career. Here it is right down here. Now I'm supposed to italicize it, which means I need to select it. And ending, I'm just reading through the directions, ending for the day. Okay, there it is. So I'm going to select that. Really, it's a paragraph too, by the way. Now, hold on just a second. It says italicize the sentence in the paragraph. I need to be careful here. So, interested in a career ending in the insurance industry. The sentence is really just that first question. Let's see if this other trick works in the Mac. Now, on the PC, if you press Control-click on a sentence, it will select that entire sentence. I'm going to try it here. Command-click. Hey, it works. That's super. So Command-click on a sentence in a Word document is going to select that entire sentence. And now I can click the Italicize button on the Home ribbon over there on the left side, and done and done. That takes care of steps 6 and 7. I'm going to cross those out. I'm on step number 8. We are more than halfway through. Add the words, the program to the paragraph beginning. The following is. Okay, so let's see. Here it is. The following is. I'm going to click right after the word is. And I need to add the words the program. So it'll read the following is space the program for the day. Now be cautious. Whenever you type something into these SAM projects, you need to type them precisely. You need to spell them accurately. You need to do the uppercase or lowercase the way they want. I've seen students in different SAM projects get marked wrong on a whole bunch of things just because of a spelling error. And this comes up in Word, it comes up in Excel, and it comes up in PowerPoint. So it's okay to go slow and careful on these parts where you have to type something out. The program. Step number 9, create a bulleted list beginning with the paragraph 9:30 a.m. So over here, they've got this list of paragraphs with times. I'm going to select those paragraphs, and I'm just going to go up to the Home ribbon, and I'm going to just click the default bulleted list button. That converts all those paragraphs to bulleted list paragraphs. By the way, those are all paragraphs. If I had my formatting marks on, we'd see those paragraph symbols hidden at the end of each of those bullet lines. I'll turn those formatting marks off though. And to make the list easier to read, okay, that's good. I think we did this. So I'm going to cross out steps 8 and 9. Those are looking complete to me. Step 10 has 2 parts, 10A and 10B. Change the font of the text in the bulleted list to Bookman Old Style. Now, fonts is where I would expect there could be some risk between the PC and the Mac. Sometimes there are fonts on one platform that aren't on the other. Let's see what's going on here. I'm going to select those bulleted paragraphs, or at least confirm that they're selected. I'm going to go to my font drop-down. Hey, look, there's a Bookman Old Style right there. And if you start typing in the name of a font, it will jump to that particular font. Now, I do have a scrollable window here, so I could, oops, I missed that one. I chose the wrong one by accident there. But I can scroll downward, and there are really a ton of fonts on here, but let's make sure we get the right one. There it is, Bookman Old Style. Yep, and when in doubt, just go for regular. I'm just going to click the regular one, and there we go. Yeah, we don't know if that's the right font necessarily, but now that I've made that change, I can see in the font drop-down it does say Bookman, and of course we can presume it says Old Style there. Change the font color of the text in the bulleted list to pink, accent 1, darker 50%. Hey, this is good. At least now it tells us which column and row to look at in the themes color palette, theme colors palette. So let's see. I think I might be okay here. That text is selected. I'm going to click on the font color drop down and see if there's a choice here. Yeah, there it is. And these are the theme colors, and this is the theme colors palette. And let's see, the directions tell me that it should be in the 5th column, 6th row. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5th column, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's pink, accent 1, darker 50%. Hey, that looks right. Cool. I'm going to click it. And there we go. So now it's that really dark purplish pink color, I suppose. Step 11, delete the repetitious sentence, places are limited. Okay, so it says places are limited. I'm looking down here at this sentence at the very bottom of the flyer, and of course there's spaces limited. So we want to delete that. I'm going to do that trick, that command click to select the sentence, and then I'll just press delete on my keyboard. Perfect. All right, well that takes care of steps 10 and 11. I'm going to strike those out. Number 12. Draw attention to the web address and phone number in the paragraph beginning, reserve a place. So down here at the very bottom, I'm supposed to draw attention to the web address and the phone number. Okay, well the web address is bold and green and the phone number is just bold. How do they want me to do this? Remove the hyperlink from the web address. So basically you want to have a web address in the document, but they don't want it to behave like a web address. That's actually not so unusual. Now if I select the web address, which is currently a hyperlink, I should be able to get to the ability to customize this hyperlink, including removing it. In the PC, it's Control K. Let's see what happens if I press Command K on my Mac. Excellent. So Command K is the keyboard shortcut to bring up the Edit Hyperlink dialog box. And let's see, I'm looking around. Here we go. There's a remove link option. I recall on the PC this button is over in the lower right, but here it's in the lower left. Remove link, click, and there we go. So the link is gone. The text is still bold, and it's bold in the same way that the phone number is bold. Let's see what they might have wanted us to do though. To format it as regular text. You know what? I think I mentioned that I've done this assignment on the PC. Now, when we remove the hyperlink on the PC, this text actually went to a normal font weight. I'm a little bit concerned that it's still bold. I don't know if it wants me to leave it bold because it does say make it look like regular text. So I'm not quite sure what they mean by that. Well, I'm going to try something. I'm going to select this and I'm going to turn off the bold. And then I'm going to select the phone number here and I'm going to turn off the bold too. Now I could be going off script and this could be wrong. But remember, when we're done with this SAM project, we're going to submit it online and it's going to auto-grade it. And SAM will give us a report telling us exactly what steps are wrong. So if I make a mistake here and I wasn't supposed to get rid of that bolding, I'm going to find out pretty soon, and then I'll know that I can correct this and then resubmit it to get a higher grade. But I feel pretty good about this. Now in step 12B, apply the outline text effect pink accent 1 to the web address and the phone number. So I'm going to select the text that makes up the web address. Notice I'm not getting the little period after the web address. I'm just getting the web address text. And I want to apply an outline text effect. On the home ribbon, I'm moving around here a little bit. Can't remember exactly where this is. What's this? I'm going to use my screen tips. Perfect. Text effects. Now I'm looking for an outline text effect. So I'm going to click on the drop down for text effects. There's a category called outline. And what color does it want? Pink accent 1. Well, it doesn't tell us the column and row, but there's pink at the very top. Pink accent 1. Okay. I'm going to click that. Now, instead of repeating that process for the phone number, I am going to use the format painter. So the web address is already selected. I'm going to click the format painter, which is that little yellow paintbrush on the home ribbon. I've clicked on that, and now I'm going to select the phone number very carefully, let go, and so now I can feel confident that the phone number is styled just like that web address. Okay. Step 13, format the paragraph beginning reserve a place. Let's see, so it's this last paragraph, so I'm just going to click in the left margin and I'm going to select that paragraph. I did a little click and drag there, by the way. Center the paragraph. All right, well, here's another experiment. Command E. Okay, so the Command E keyboard shortcut is going to center the paragraph. Apply the paragraph shading, pink accent 1, lighter 80% to the entire paragraph. Well, my paragraph is selected. That's nice. Now for shading, it's easy to get it confused with this little highlighter. Text highlighting looks similar, but it's not the same as shading. I need to move a little bit further to the right on the home ribbon, and I'm looking for that paint bucket right there. Boy, they got paint brushes, they got paint buckets. They're really into painting. I'm going to click on the drop down, and it wants me to change it to, where am I looking? There it is, pink accent 1, lighter 80%. I'm on step 13B on the directions. So I'm going to go to the pink column. It's not that first one. What about that one? That's it. Pink accent 1, lighter 80%. I'm going to click that, and that applies that shading behind that text, behind that paragraph. That takes care of step number 12. I'm going to go ahead and strike that out. Actually, I take that back. That takes care of steps 12 and 13. Strike those both out. We've only got 2 more things to do. Insert a picture as follows to include the company logo on the page in the blank line at the bottom of the page. So they're telling me that underneath there's that blank line. I'm willing to bet. I'm going to click somewhere in the middle, and I'm going to press Command End on my keyboard. Hey, neat. So Command End is going to put my insertion point at the end of the document, which happens to be the place where they want me to insert this picture. Now remember, we downloaded that picture when we downloaded the directions, so that's what they want me to do, is insert that picture in there. So I'm going to go to the Insert ribbon. I'm going to click on the drop down for pictures. I'm going to get a picture from the file because I've already downloaded and I've got it stored. And it's already in my downloads folder, so that's good. So I don't have to navigate to my downloads folder. And there's one picture, and I'm just going to double click that picture. Pops it right in. Now, it can be a little weird at first because this picture is so big, it pushed down onto the next page, but that's okay. Because the next step is to resize the picture to a height of 0.7 inches. Image is active. I can see the sizing handles. I'm on my picture format ribbon. Oops, I just hit it. There it is, my picture format ribbon. And the height needs to be 0.7. My eye is being drawn to that little check mark. I want to make sure that check mark is checked so that we are preserving our aspect ratio. We want those proportions to stay the same. And I'm going to change the height to 0.7 and just press my Enter key. There we go. Now that we've decreased or made that image smaller, it fits nicely on the first page. And perfect. So that takes care of step 14. I'm going to strike that out. And last but not least, we are on step number 15. Finish the flyer by adding a page border as follows. So page borders, I recall, are on the design ribbon. Yes, on the design ribbon, over to the far right, there's an option for page borders. And let's see, so this is the Borders and Shading dialog box. Notice that I'm on the Page Borders tab, and it wants a dashed border. Okay, and it tells me it's the 3rd border style in the list. So there's solid, dotted, there's dashed. It wants the color to be pink accent 1, so there's a color control. And I think this top one was pink accent 1. I'm just moving my mouse to see if I get my screen tip. And my screen tip isn't showing up. That's a bummer. Sometimes that'll happen. I don't think that's your fault. I think sometimes just they haven't programmed these things well, and maybe we're getting a little glitch. But I recall from one of the previous steps that pink accent 1 was the very top one. I'm going to click that color, and it wants it to be a 1 point width. Currently a half a point. I'm going to change it to 1. Okay, it's going to apply to the whole document. I'm going to click OK. All right, that looks pretty good. And I think that takes care of it. I'm going to, just for fun, I'm going to cross out step number 15. Now it tells me my document should look like the final figure on the following pages. So I'm going to scroll my directions up so I can see their finished sample. And then I'm going to look over at my working document and just kind of eyeball from left to right to see if things look pretty similar. And the top half is looking pretty good. The middle, yeah, that looks pretty consistent. Yeah, I think this is going to be pretty nice. Now, I'm not saying I didn't make any mistakes, but if I did make a mistake, I don't think there's too many mistakes. It looks pretty good compared to the picture. So now I'm ready to find out. On my Word document, by the way, this is a rookie mistake. I have not been saving my work as I go. Really, you should. I'm going to click the floppy disk button right up there in my quick launch in the title bar. And that's going to save what I have. Now I need to resubmit my working file, the one with the number 2, back into SAM so I can get it graded. I'm going to jump back over to my browser, and I never closed this tab, by the way, in my browser. This is where I downloaded the directions in my working file, and right here, step number 2 is I'm going to upload my work, and it's going to grade it for me. Now it says I can drag and drop the file here, or I can click to browse files. I'm going to click to browse files. And let's see, I need to go to my downloads folder because that's where it's at. And there's my file right there, that number 2. Now, by the way, something I like to do on my PC, I'm going to look at date modified. Well, that's sorting by date modified, but I'm not actually seeing those on there. Hold on, I'm going to click this. I'm going to get my list view. Here we go. And now I can kind of sort this a little bit better. Let's see. Yep, date modified. Okay, so there's that number 2 file right there, and it says today at 1:02 p.m. And if I look at my computer clock, well, it says 1:32 up there, but that says date added. I think that's the time I downloaded. It's not showing me date modified. So I think something I need to do is add a new column to my display here. Well, that's kind of taking me on a different track. So I'm just going to kind of trust in the system at the moment that this is the file. But what I do like to see is I like to see that my modified date is the same as the current time. That way I know that I'm looking at my current file. Well, I feel confident about this, and I think in another video I can explore the file manager, the Finder in Mac a little bit more carefully. I'm going to double click on this file. It's going to upload. It should go pretty quick. All right, there it is, and I'm going to submit it for grading, step number 3. I'm going to click the submit button. All right, that went pretty quick. And now I'm going to click on the graded summary report to see how I did. Download complete. I'm going to open that folder. There's my report. I'm going to double click it to open it up in Word. Hey, this is good. 100 out of 100. So if I had made a mistake on here, I would have scrolled through the report to look for the specific item that I did not do properly. And then I would go back to my working file, that file with the number 2 at the end, and I would make a change. And then I would make those changes, and then I would save it and then re-upload it to SAM. And you can do this usually several times in those SAM projects so that you can get the highest grade possible. But this was a pretty good experience for me because I know a little bit more about using Microsoft Word on the Mac. And yeah, so that was pretty good. Now, the other thing you can use too, I don't think I need it at the moment, but they have this study guide. I'm not going to open the study guide up, but I've seen them before, and they actually can be really helpful. Because with the study guide, not only will they tell you the areas where you maybe got something wrong, but they'll even point to sections of the book. They'll tell you the page number where you can look things up, and they'll often have hyperlinks to little video demonstrations of that particular skill. So sometimes the graded report is a little bit hard to read, hard to understand exactly what you may have done wrong. So the study guide is going to be your plan B for really trying to figure out that particular skill. But I'm feeling good about this. Again, we got 100 out of 100 on this participation activity. So this was a Word SAM project using the Mac. Thanks for hanging out with me.